to acceptance, and then it went to patience. So denial, just I was so young, okay, what am I really supposed to do with this? And then it's, your brothers and sisters, because brothers and sisters are mean sometimes. Oh, you're going to be a pastor, blah, 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 So it became a teasing thing, with my family. And then I had to learn to get over that. And then it went to this process of acceptance. I said, okay, God, I get it. And then it's kind of when, so it's patience, right? So it's okay when, God. And when I was reminiscing about this, and Charm will hate me for saying this, but I worked at In-N-Out Burger, and I'm okay. She wasn't proud of me that I worked there, but I worked at In-N-Out Burger. And on the bottom of their cups, they put verses, and one of the verses that stuck out to me when I'm kind of going, okay, when, God, what's the process? It's, I think you all know it. It's Proverbs 3, 5, and 6, and just so I don't butcher it, I'll read it to you. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Do not lean on your own understanding. In all your ways, acknowledge Him, and He will direct your path. And so that spoke into me, and through just saying yes, it's not that I knew exactly where I was going. I just had to keep walking. And everything that was put in front of me that was of God that I felt, I said yes to. And so that's kind of been my life verse. And sometimes you don't understand that our human mind cannot comprehend, what different things we're being asked to do. And sometimes you just got to be obedient. And again, say yes. So, after this, okay, so there's my life verse. I'm still working it in and out. So I get married to my high school sweetheart, which is Charm. So, which is, she's probably the best partner. Well, she's the best and only partner that was right for me. So she knows how to keep me in line, which is great. So it's kind of like I've always been with Charm. But the first kind of exposure when I, started doing some kind of elements of worship leading was in high school. Our senior year, Danny actually was doing the music at our high school, and I don't exactly remember how it happened, but I started singing with him. And so that was from the time I was 17 years old. I started singing with Danny, and then from there, Danny taught me how to play the guitar. So he taught me 3 chords and the truth. That's all you needed. So at that time, so it was so I just plunked away and just did my best trying to learn, and then an opportunity came up, and Charm and I were engaged to someone asked me, but it was the opportunity to lead worship for the marrieds group. And so with Teresa, she was right there alongside of me. I just was faithful, and I said yes. And I just started leading worship, with the marrieds group, which was, very challenging but very growing time in my life. It was a very cool opportunity. And then about the time it was decided that the marrieds group would kind of dissolve. It kind of had served its purpose at that time. Danny comes back from being a missionary, so he becomes the youth pastor. So from there, it just was, he talked to me, hey, would you mind playing for the high school? And I said yes. And so it just was another progress. It wasn't anything planned out. I just started doing it. And then from time to time, Danny and I would help him lead some special nights of worship, which was cool. And then there was a couple significant things in my life that happened kind of during that period, and I call these life derailers. Potentially, they can be. Charm and I, we lost our first baby. She was a stillborn, and we've read the statistics, and most marriages don't last through things like that. But we committed at that time, and I remember praying with her and saying, Satan's trying to tear us apart. And no matter what, we will serve God together. So long process, and I'm not here to talk about that, but there was a time that we chose, and we continued along the path, and we didn't go to the right or the left. We kept going straight forward, and we continued to say yes. And through that was another that I feel is another for us as a couple, a life verse, which is 2 Corinthians chapter 1, 3 through 4. See, I'm a person that needs to know before I need to know, because I need to be prepared mentally, or my mind goes a little nuts. So this is a verse that God gave to me before we even knew that our daughter had passed away. Blessed be the God and Father of our Lord Jesus Christ, the Father of mercies and God of all comfort, who comforts us in all our afflictions, so that we may be able to comfort those who are in any affliction with the comfort with which we ourselves are comforted by God. Through that terrible situation, we've been able to minister to countless couples, and especially my wife. And she's given her testimony a bunch of times how faithful God has been to us. Do we wish she was still here? Yes, but I count it as an honor that Jesus wanted her. And that's pretty cool that she doesn't have to deal with all the stuff that we have to deal with on a normal day-to-day basis. So that's a very cool. So that's one situation, a little life derailing situation. And then the second part is some of you who don't know, but around a similar, a little bit later, Zion just went through some transitions. And Charm and I felt at that time that maybe our time here was done. And so that's another kind of significant thing to us, which potentially could have kind of derailed us off the path. And so Charm had been pushing me for a while to say, okay, it's time to go. And I'm like, no, honey, just hold on, just wait. Something's good's going to happen. And finally I gave in. I bit the apple. I gave in. No. I'm just kidding, honey. So, now, one thing to know about me is I am the cheapest man alive. So, I just want to go on record, and I'm okay with saying that. So, we had already paid for her to go to a women's retreat. So, of course, she had to get the value out of that retreat. Okay, I can't lose my money. So at the retreat, so we're getting ready to potentially leave, and God spoke to her, and she said He said we're not to go. So she called me that night and said, honey, we're supposed to stay. I don't know why, but we're supposed to stay. And my heart's changed, and I laughed, and I basically said, okay. I've secretly been praying that you would change your mind. So, and then shortly after that, within the next couple months, there was a word within our church that the senior pastor would come from within. And Danny was soon installed after that point. And so, in the time, you don't know why, but okay. And then he's like, okay, hey, you want to maybe do some music, I'm like, okay. I said yes again. Here we are. It's 9+ years later. And it's been an incredible journey. Just because I said yes. And I know it's going to continue to be an incredible journey. And, I wanted to share with all you guys, that's just a little history of just kind of the process. And it's been a huge growing process for me and character and really understanding what it truly means to worship. It's been an incredible time. And last year I kind of felt that, the team needed a vision, and so I worked with everybody, talked to them about, what should our vision be as a worship team? What is our purpose here? And so this is our vision, and I wanted to share this with you, to live a life of worship that models and inspires worship in others. And when I say that, I don't mean music only. I mean it's a lifestyle. It's a life that is driven by the Holy Spirit, and that's what that means to me. Our purpose to give glory to God and help others do the same. Hopefully on a Sunday morning we're facilitating a time where you can truly enter in. When I was thinking about that, sometimes worship is a choice. Sometimes it's easy for all of us, but sometimes it's a choice. And what I was reminded was in Acts 16, 25, 26. I just kind of want to read that really quick. It's the story of it's Paul and Silas. They'd been beaten and radically, and they'd been thrown in jail. And, all of a sudden, they made up in their minds, we're not going to let this get to us. And I need to read this because it's... And the crowd rose up together, and this is Acts 16:22, and the crowd rose up together against them, and the chief magistrates tore their robes off of them and proceeded to order them to be beaten with rods. And when they had inflicted many blows upon them, they threw them into prison, commanding the jailer to guard them securely. But about midnight, Paul and Silas were praying and singing hymns of praise to God. Think about that. When in your time... in your life, when you're going through the worst time possible, you don't feel like doing anything. You want to just sit in your stuff. And I think Danny talks about that. Just sitting in your stuff, and what does it do? It just makes you feel worse. I think that passage is significant because if you think about it, the final outcome, and I believe that this is a picture and this is imagery of what happens in our lives when we choose to worship. And suddenly there came a great earthquake, so that the foundations of the prison house were shaken. And immediately all the doors were opened, and everyone's chains were unfastened. And to me, that's a picture of what happens in worship. It breaks the bondage. It breaks the bondage of sin. Anything that you're going through, that's what happens. It's spiritual warfare to where you guys can get out of the junk that you're in, and it lifts your spirit. So I said yes. And I just wanted to just acknowledge just a few different people. First I want to thank God. Thank you for trusting me with this gift. To all of you, to the congregation. The cool thing about Zion is that there's a heritage here. There's so much history. And I've been here for 26 years. What a cool thing is that? Same with Danny. I've known Danny since I was 5. We were in kindergarten at Melodyland. How cool is that? And I've known Scotty. He used to beat me up. And so, and Millie was always like a second mom to me. So, the heritage here, it's a privilege to serve you. It's just incredible. And I just want you to know I understand the magnitude of this. And, I've never taken this lightly, but I will continue to strive even more to serve you with all that I have. And to the worship team, you guys have been my rock and my support, and I thank you for truly modeling what worship is, guys. I really do. Because we know it's not about us. We know it's not about us. It's all about God. So I just want to thank you guys publicly for that. And to my family and parents, and the ones, there's a few that, there's still a lot more that aren't able to be here. But so that whole row is most of the people that I know. But so my family and my parents, thank you for your support and encouragement. Especially my parents, for always encouraging me whenever I doubted. And even my brothers, so, and my sisters too. So, you guys have been awesome. And to my friends, we're have the pleasure of just living in a great neighborhood with some great friends, and they're friends and neighbors that are right over there, and it's just incredible. And Charm and I, another kind of cool thing, going to a small high school, being high school sweethearts. Still able to be, like best friends with Toby and Melissa, who have been, for 25 years, if that's what the timing is. I mean, that's pretty cool. That doesn't happen very often. And then, actually what surprised me is I have, there's a couple work friends here and they've been a great support to me, and they've helped me grow in leadership. And they've had significant impact in how I've been as a professional, but that also translates here to how I do things at church. And I just want to thank you to Bob and Ron. And then Charm and the kids. Charm, again, Jerry McGuire, she completes me. That's Charm, because there's a lot of things I'm not good at that she's really good at. And so, she keeps me in line. She helps me. I can get negative sometimes, and she really helps me. She lifts my spirits, and honey, I love you. Thank you. To my crazy kids, they keep me young, and they keep me on my toes all the time, and I thank you. I'm excited for what God's going to do in all of them, and because he's already gifted them, which is very cool. And lastly, to Pastor Danny and Rochelle, thank you for trusting me, and thank you for being, after my wife, and I think after God too, for being, our biggest supporters and always encouraging us. It's I can't tell you, knowing that if I messed up, and I'm going to mess up again, and that's okay, I just want you guys to know that no matter what, you've stood behind me, which is pretty incredible, and then we have that kindred spirit, that we're always on the same page. When if we don't happen to talk, we're still on the same page. We know. And thank you for never allowing me to say no. Trust me, I tried to say no to Danny a lot. He's all, why do you have to say, what good reason do you have to say no? So he's helped me to learn how to say yes. So I just want to thank you guys, and this is an honor and a privilege. And so if I, again, leave you with anything, just say yes.
Thank you. Bet you learned some things about Ben, even though he stood up here for many years and led you in worship. And I just really appreciate your heart, Ben, and I so appreciate you sharing what you did. And I want to just echo what he told you. Say yes to God. Say yes to the call that's on your life. You each and everyone have a call. We're going to end our service, and are you going to just have your team come, or are you gonna, if you could have our worship team come? And this song is another, again, expression that the Lord gave to Ben in response to not only this day, but just into a season that we're in. So I just invite you to as we close out the service, to worship along with this team and with Ben as we respond back to the great things that God's done. I hope that you got something out of today. I know that you did. I can't imagine you not. But hearing somebody else's testimony, I pray and believe and hope that it'll inspire you, that whatever you're facing, whatever you're going through, that you would trust in the Lord with all your heart and not lean on your own understanding, but acknowledge him in every way, and he will direct your path. The timing of God is a funny thing. One thing we know for sure, it's never your timing, ever. And one thing we know about the will of God is always different. It's always different. It's higher and greater and far beyond what we could even think, ask, or imagine. So I just think it's appropriate that maybe we stand. Maybe we just get our blood flowing anyhow. But let's stand to our feet and let's close with this song of worship.
Desert where I have lost my way, in the raging sea where I begin to sing. Yes, I choose to worship you. In all my fears, overwhelm my soul. When my endless trials seem to steal This I recall, therefore I hope, Lord's loving kindness never ceases, for His compassions never fail. Great is Thy faithfulness, and right now I make my stand to praise Your name with all that I am, and yes, I choose to worship You in this hour, this day, this song. Declare all Your ways, and yes, I choose to worship You right now, make my stand to praise Your name. All that I am, and yes, I choose to worship You this hour, this day, this song. Declare all Your ways, and yes, I choose to worship You. I 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 worship You.
Lord, we worship You together. God, we thank You for Your presence. God, we thank You that You've been with us and that You'll continue to walk out these doors, God. And I want to thank You for the testimony of a God who calls children to serve You wholeheartedly. And it doesn't matter this afternoon if you're 6 years old or you're 65 years old or older or whatever. God calls us and we respond. And I want to invite you to just say yes to Him. The thing I love about God is God's really good at helping us make U-turns. We've gone the wrong direction to help pull us back on the path that we need to be on. He's really good at those times when we derail, that He can pick us back up and carry us and guide us in paths of righteousness for His name's sake. So maybe you have a call in your life and maybe you've been denying it a little bit or even running from it. Just get back on the path, do the U-turn, or let Him put you back on. Maybe God spoke to you throughout this service. Don't deny it. Don't even doubt it. God is calling us to greater things for Him. So Lord, bless Your people today. And in the midst of all that we do and all that we say, let it be said of us that we're worshipers, that we choose to worship You, that we say yes to You, that we're servants of the living God. If that means preaching the gospel to thousands of people will preach. If that means washing the feet of one, then we'll wash those feet. Whatever You want, God, the answer is yes. And we choose to worship You. Lord, bless Your people today. Encourage them, I ask. In the name of Jesus. Amen and amen. Amen. Well, God bless you. And listen, don't run away. Come and share a meal with us. We've got